The alarm screamed through the monitoring station, a sound that Commander Zethus had not heard in 12 years of service. His forearms moved across the control panel with practiced speed, his compound eyes scanning the data that flooded his screens. Something was out there in the deep dark of space, and it was big. "Report," Zethus clicked, his mandibles sharp with command. The junior officer, a young Klarn named Sifa, trembled as she spoke. "Commander, we have detected an unknown energy signature in Sector 447. The readings are impossible." "Nothing is impossible." "Show me." The main screen lit up with the scan results. Zethus felt his breathing tubes constrict. The object was massive, easily 3 times the size of a Council dreadnought. It drifted through space like a dead thing, but the power reading suggested something still lived within its metal shell. "Is it a station? A colony ship?" Zethus asked. "No, sir. The configuration matches a warship, but it is not in our database. Not Council, not Krill, not any known species." Zethus stood silent for a moment. In the 3,000 years since the Galactic Council had formed, every spacefaring species had been catalogued, contacted, or observed. There were no unknowns anymore. The galaxy had been mapped, settled, and organized. This did not fit. "Prepare the diplomatic science vessel. We will investigate personally." 3 hours later, Zethus stood on the bridge of the Seeker's Hope, watching the unknown ship grow larger in the viewport. Up close, it was even more terrifying. The hull was scarred and burned, marked by weapons fire that must have been incredible. Whole sections looked melted. Others showed impact craters deep enough to swallow smaller ships. What kind of battle did this survive? Whispered Valora, the Avian Council representative beside him. Her feathers were flat against her body, a sign of fear in her species. "One we should be grateful we were not part of," Zethus replied. As they drew closer, the ship's details became clearer. The design was brutal and practical. There were no elegant curves like Council ships favored. This vessel was built like a hammer, meant to strike and strike hard. Massive cannons lined its sides. Launch bays gaped open like wounds. Strange symbols marked the hull in white paint, words in a language the computer struggled to translate. "I have something," called out the linguistics officer, a 6-legged Trell named Gorvin. "The translation matrix is working on the language. It is old, very old. Not used in Council space for... Wait. This cannot be correct." "What is it?" Zethus demanded. "The language is classified as Terran, human, but that is impossible. Humans are primitive. They do not have space travel. They were quarantined in their home system over 200 years ago." The bridge fell silent. Every officer knew the story of humanity. They had been discovered 2 centuries ago, a young species just beginning to reach for the stars. The Council had observed them but decided not to make contact. Humans were too violent, too aggressive, too unpredictable. When the Krill swarm had been detected moving toward human space, the Council had voted to do nothing. They had sealed off that region of space and moved on. No one had checked on humanity since. "What does the writing say?" Valora asked, her voice quiet. Gorvin's translator hummed. "UNSC Retribution. Terran Deep Space Navy," he paused. "There is more. We stand vigilant. We strike first, we end wars." Zethus felt a chill run through his body. If this was truly a human ship, then everything the Council believed about humanity was wrong. This was not the vessel of a primitive species. This was a weapon of war, built by survivors who had learned to fight in the darkness. "Scan for life signs," he ordered. The sensors worked for several minutes before the science officer reported back. "I am detecting very faint life signs, Commander. Deep within the ship, they appear to be in some kind of stasis. Cryosleep, perhaps." "How many?" "Over 800 signatures," Zethus made his decision. "Prepare a boarding team. Full environmental suits. Weapons on stun only. We will enter this ship and find out what happened to humanity." The airlock breach was easy. The human ship systems were in emergency mode, powered down to almost nothing. The boarding team of 6 moved through corridors that were too small, too cramped for comfort. Everything was built for human proportions. Emergency lighting cast everything in red shadows, making the interior feel like the inside of a predator's mouth. Warning signs covered every wall. Gorvin translated as they walked. "Danger. High radiation. Weapons hot. Authorized personnel only. Reactor critical zones." The humans had marked their ship like a minefield. They found the first human in the medical bay. She floated in a cryopod, frozen in time. Her face was young but carried scars. Burns on her neck, a patch over one eye. Her uniform was military, covered in symbols and badges that meant nothing to the council team. There are hundreds more, the science officer reported. This entire section is filled with cryopods. Zethus studied the sleeping human. She looked so ordinary, small, fragile, soft-skinned, not the appearance of a warrior race. But appearances, he was learning, meant nothing. We should wake one of them, Valora suggested. We need answers, agreed. Find someone with command insignia. They located a pod deeper in the ship. The nameplate read Captain Sarah Chen, UNSC Navy, serial number 447-882-019. Her uniform carried more symbols than the others. This was a leader. The science officer studied the pod controls. The interface is simple, primitive but effective. I can initiate the wake sequence. Do it. The pod hummed to life. Liquid drained away. The human inside began to move, her body jerking as systems came online. Her eyes snapped open and immediately she began to fight, her hands moving to her waist for weapons that were not there. Stand down, Zethus commanded, his translator broadcasting in the human language. We mean no harm. We are from the Galactic Council. The human stopped moving. Her one good eye focused on Zethus, taking in his insectoid form, his forearms, his compound eyes. She did not scream. She did not panic. Instead, she spoke in a voice rough from years of sleep. Galactic Council? How long have I been out? We were hoping you could tell us, Valora said gently. Your ship was found drifting in neutral space. We do not know how it got here. Captain Chen looked around the medical bay, seeing her crew in their pods. Her face hardened. Computer, what is the date? A mechanical voice responded from speakers. Galactic Standard Year 2847. You have been in cryo-sleep for 43 years, 6 months, and 12 days. Chen closed her eye for a moment. When she opened it again, something dangerous lived there. Then we survived. The mission was a success. What mission? Zethus asked. Captain Chen looked at him, and Zethus saw something in her expression that made him want to step back. It was the look of someone who had seen hell and walked through it. The mission to kill the Krill Hive Queen and stop the invasion of Sol System. She said simply, we destroyed their fleet. All 40,000 bioships, but it cost us everything. She paused. Tell me, council member, is Earth still standing? Zethus did not know how to answer. He did not even know if humanity still existed. The boarding team exchanged glances. Captain Chen saw their hesitation and understood. Her voice dropped to something cold and sharp. You do not know. You abandoned us. It was not a question. The council quarantined us and left us to die. We had no choice, Valora began. The Krill. We fought them, Chen interrupted. For 200 years we fought them alone. And we won. She pulled herself out of the pod, standing on shaky legs. Now I am going to ask you again, and you are going to give me answers. Where is Earth? Where is humanity? And what has the council been doing while we bled? Commander Zethus realized in that moment that the galaxy had changed. Humanity had not died in the darkness. They had been forged by it. And now they were back. The question was, what would they do next? The conference room aboard the council station felt too warm. Captain Sarah Chen sat across from Commander Zethus and 5 other council representatives, each from a different species. They stared at her like she was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Perhaps she was. We need to understand what happened, Zethus said carefully. The council lost contact with humanity 203 years ago. We believed your species was confined to one solar system, yet here you are, in a warship more advanced than anything in our records. Chen leaned back in her chair. Her body still ached from cryo-sleep, but her mind was sharp. She had spent the last 6 hours reviewing what little data the Retribution's damaged computers could provide. The picture was not complete, but it was enough. You want the story? Fine. I will give you the short version. She tapped the table and a holographic display flickered to life. The image showed Earth blue and beautiful. This is home. 200 years ago, we were just starting to colonize Mars and the outer planets. We were happy. Stupid, but happy. The image changed, showing a dark shape approaching the solar system. It looked organic, like a massive insect made of metal and flesh. Then they came. The Krill. We did not even know aliens existed, and suddenly we were fighting for our lives. Chen's voice remained flat, emotionless. They hit Earth first. Kinetic strikes from orbit, bioweapons, swarm troops. 3 billion people died in the first month, Valora gasped. Several other representatives made sounds of horror. Chen did not look at them. We fought back with everything we had. Nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, anything that could kill. It was not enough. The Krill kept coming, so we ran. We evacuated everyone we could to Mars, to the asteroid colonies, to anywhere the Krill had not reached. The hologram showed fleets of ships, small and desperate, fleeing burning cities. The governments collapsed. The old nations meant nothing anymore. There was only humanity, and we were dying, so we formed the UNSC, the United Nations Space Command. One military, one goal, survive. Chen stood up and began to pace. The council representatives watched her like prey watching a predator. For 50 years we fought them, ship by ship, station by station, planet by planet. The Krill were stronger, faster, more numerous. But we learned. We adapted. We built ships designed to kill them. We developed weapons that could crack their bioarmor. We trained soldiers who could fight in zero gravity, in hard vacuum, in conditions that would kill most living things. She stopped and looked directly at Zethus. We became what we needed to be. We became monsters to fight monsters. The hologram changed again, showing the Retribution in its prime. It was beautiful and terrible, bristling with weapons. The Retribution was one of our last-generation dreadnoughts. We built her to do one thing: destroy the Krill Hive fleet that was preparing to launch a final assault on Earth. The mission was simple: jump into their territory, find their queen, and kill everything. A suicide mission, Zethus said quietly. Yes. But we volunteered anyway. Chen smiled, but there was no joy in it. We hit them hard. 40,000 Krill bioships defending their queen. We killed them all, used every weapon we had. Nuclear torpedoes, antimatter warheads. We even rammed 3 of their carriers when we ran out of ammunition. She touched her eye patch. I was on the bridge when their suicide fighters hit us. The explosion killed my second officer and half the bridge crew. I lost my eye. We lost main power. Life support failed in 6 sections. But we kept fighting. The room was silent. Chen continued. In the end, we won. We killed the queen. Without her, the Krill hive mind collapsed. The invasion stopped. Earth was saved, she paused. But the Retribution was dying. Our FTL drive was damaged. We could not make it home. So I ordered the crew into cryo-sleep. We set the ship to drift toward the galactic core, hoping someone would find us eventually. She sat back down heavily. I thought I would never wake up. I thought we would drift forever, a ghost ship full of dead heroes. Instead, I wake up to find the council standing over me asking questions. Valora leaned forward, her feathers ruffling with emotion. Captain Chen, I am truly sorry for what your species endured. If we had known. But you did know, Chen interrupted coldly. The council knew the Krill were coming. Your records show it. You detected them moving toward our space. You could have warned us. You could have helped us. Instead, you quarantined us and watched. Zethus's mandibles clicked nervously. It was not that simple. The council feared the Krill. We had fought them before thousands of years ago. We barely survived. The decision was made to contain them, to keep them away from council space, by letting them destroy humanity instead. Yes. Zethus did not try to deny it. It was wrong. I will not defend it. The council chose to sacrifice your species to save our own. Chen stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. At least you are honest. I can respect that. What will you do now? Asked a reptilian representative named Krish. Will you return to human space? That depends, Chen said. You are going to tell me everything you know about what happened to humanity while I was sleeping. You are going to show me your records, your surveillance data, everything. And then I am going to decide whether the council is a friend or an enemy. That is not how this works, Krish said sharply. You are in our space. You have no authority here. Chen smiled, and this time it was genuine and terrifying. Let me explain something to you. The Retribution may be damaged, but she is not dead. My crew is still asleep on that ship. And even in her current state, she carries enough firepower to sterilize a planet. So yes, this is exactly how this works. Zethus raised a hand before the situation could escalate. Enough. Captain Chen, you have earned the truth. I will provide you with all the information we have on humanity's current status. He activated a larger holographic display. Chen's breath caught in her throat. The image showed the Sol system, but it was transformed. Earth was surrounded by massive defense platforms. Mars had been terraformed. The asteroid belt was filled with stations and shipyards, and there were ships. Hundreds of ships, all bearing the same design philosophy as the Retribution. Humanity survived, Zethus said. After the Krill invasion ended, your species expanded rapidly. You now control 32 systems. Your population is estimated at 40 billion. And your military? He hesitated. Your military is formidable. Chen felt tears on her face but did not wipe them away. Earth lived. Humanity thrived. Everything they had sacrificed, every death, every horror had not been in vain. Show me more, she whispered. Zethus showed her everything. Human colonies spreading through space. New technologies developed from captured Krill bioships. Defensive fleets that patrolled human borders. A civilization that had been forged in fire and emerged stronger. Your species calls this period the Long War, Valora explained softly. It is taught to every human child. The time when humanity stood alone against extinction and refused to fall. Chen wiped her face and stood straight. I need to contact Earth. I need to let them know we are alive. Already arranged, Zethus said. A message drone is being prepared. It will reach your territory in 3 days. Thank you. Chen took a deep breath. Now tell me about the Krill. Are they gone? Did we destroy them all? The council representatives exchanged glances. Zethus's voice was heavy when he spoke. No, Captain. The Krill still exist. Your attack crippled them, sent them into retreat. But they have been rebuilding in the dark spaces between galaxies. And our long-range sensors have detected something disturbing. He changed the display. It showed a massive fleet, larger than anything Chen had ever seen, moving through deep space. They are coming back, and this time they are not just targeting humanity. They are coming for everyone. Chen looked at the impossible fleet and felt something cold settle in her stomach. The war was not over. It had only just begun. She met Zethus's compound eyes. Then I suggest the Council and humanity start talking. Because if we are going to survive what is coming, we are going to need each other. Agreed, Zethus said. The question is, will humanity help the Council that abandoned them? Chen thought about her crew, sleeping peacefully in their pods. She thought about Earth, thriving and strong. She thought about the billions who had died so that humanity could survive. That, she said quietly, is not my decision to make alone. The Galactic Council chamber was built to inspire awe. Its dome stretched 300 meters high, decorated with crystals that represented every member species. Thousands of representatives filled the curved seating areas, creating a symphony of different voices, languages, and sounds. Today, that symphony was chaos. Commander Zethus stood at the central podium trying to maintain order. It was not working. This is madness, shouted a Grelin representative, their blue skin flushed with anger. We cannot trust the humans. They are violent, unpredictable, dangerous. They are our only hope, countered Valora from her perch. The Krill are coming. We need the humans' help. We need to destroy that ship before they bring war to our space. Captain Chen sat in a special viewing area, watching the chaos unfold. Beside her sat her chief engineer, Lieutenant Marcus Webb, whom she had awakened 2 days ago. He was a tall man with dark skin and clever eyes. Right now, those eyes were studying the council chamber's computer systems with great interest. They are scared, Chen said quietly. They should be, Webb replied. I have been reviewing their military records. The council has not fought a real war in 600 years. They do not know how anymore. They have diplomacy and trade agreements. We have survival instinct. Chen smiled slightly. Is the package ready? Almost. Their security is good, but not good enough. Odin is working through their firewalls now. Give me another hour. Chen nodded. Odin was the Retribution's artificial intelligence, a learning computer that had helped them survive the war. It was old, damaged, but still functioning. And right now it was quietly infiltrating the Council's information network, gathering everything it could find. Knowledge was power. And Chen needed all the power she could get. Zethus finally managed to quiet the chamber. Order! We must have order! His translator boomed through the space. We have a decision to make. The Krill fleet will arrive in 3 weeks. We must decide how to respond. A hologram appeared above the central floor, showing the approaching Krill armada. Even through the projection, it looked terrifying. Millions of bioships, moving like a swarm of locusts through space. "Our defensive fleets cannot stop this," said Admiral Kernick, a reptilian species that commanded the Council's military. "We have 700 ships of the line. This Krill fleet has over 3 million bioships. We will be overwhelmed in hours." "What about evacuation?" someone asked. "There is not enough time. 17 worlds lie in their path, 40 billion citizens. We cannot evacuate them all." The chamber fell silent. Chen could see the fear on every face. These were species that had lived in peace for centuries. They had forgotten what it meant to face extinction. "We could negotiate," suggested an elderly Quill representative. "Offer them tribute, territory, whatever they want." "The Krill do not negotiate," Chen said, her voice cutting through the silence. Every eye turned to her. "They do not want your territory or your resources. They want to consume everything." "That is what they do. That is all they do." She stood up and walked to the podium. Zethus did not stop her. "I have fought the Krill for my entire adult life," Chen continued. "I have seen what they do to planets they conquer. They strip away everything. Every plant, every animal, every microbe. They consume it all and move on. You cannot bargain with that, you cannot reason with it, you can only fight it." "And how did that work out for your species?" sneered the Greenland representative. "You lost. Billions of people." "But we survived," Chen said coldly. "Can you say the same? Will your species survive the next 3 weeks?" The representative had no answer. Chen activated her personal data pad, projecting files onto the main hologram. "These are combat logs from the Retribution, battle footage from our war with the Krill. I am going to show you what you are facing, and then you are going to understand why you need humanity." The first video played. It showed a human destroyer fighting 3 Krill bioships. The human vessel was smaller, slower, but it fought with a ferocity that made the Council representatives gasp. When it was about to be destroyed, it rammed one Krill ship and detonated its reactor, taking out all 3 enemies. "This is what human warfare looks like," Chen narrated. "We do not retreat. We do not surrender. We fight until we win, or until we die." More videos played. Human Marines in powered armor boarding Krill vessels, fighting in conditions that would kill most Council species. Nuclear weapons being deployed at ranges that seemed suicidally close. Ships sacrificing themselves to save others. Admiral Kernick watched with growing horror and fascination. "Your tactics are brutal, effective, but brutal." "We use what works," Chen said. "The Krill are stronger than us, faster than us, more numerous. So we developed weapons and tactics to counter their advantages. Kinetic weapons at relativistic speeds, antimatter warheads, boarding actions, close-range combat, whatever it took to survive." She paused the footage and looked around the chamber. "The Council abandoned humanity to fight this threat alone. For 200 years we bled while you watched. Now they are coming for you, and you have a choice. You can face them alone the way you forced us to, or you can ask for our help." "And what would be your price?" asked a Trell representative suspiciously. "What would humanity demand in exchange?" Chen smiled. "That is the interesting question, is it not? What would be fair payment for saving your civilizations?" The chamber erupted into arguing again. Chen let them fight for a moment before holding up her hand. "Fortunately for you, I am not the one who sets humanity's price. That decision belongs to Earth and the UNSC command. I have already sent them a full report of the situation. They will arrive in 1 week to negotiate terms." "What?" Zethus's mandibles clicked in surprise. "How did you contact them?" Webb stood up, grinning. "We borrowed your communication array, hope you do not mind. Odin needed the bandwidth." "That is impossible. Our systems are encrypted." "Not anymore," Webb said cheerfully. "We also borrowed your intelligence files on human space, Krill movements, and Council military capabilities. Thank you for that. Very helpful." The chamber exploded in outrage. Representatives shouted about violations and crimes. Chen waited for them to exhaust themselves. "You can complain all you want," she said when they finally quieted down. "But here is your reality. The Krill are coming. The Council cannot stop them. Humanity can. Whether we choose to help you depends entirely on how the next week goes." "This is blackmail," someone shouted. "No," Valora said, standing up. "This is justice. We abandoned them. We let them suffer. Now they hold the power. And I, for one, think we deserve whatever terms they demand." Zethus looked at Chen with a mixture of anger and respect. "You planned this from the beginning. The humble captain act, sharing your combat logs. All of it was manipulation." "I prefer to call it negotiation," Chen replied. "And yes, I learned politics along with warfare. Humanity grew up fast." Admiral Koenig studied the Krill fleet projection thoughtfully. "Tell me honestly, Captain, can humanity stop this fleet?" Chen considered the question carefully. "Alone? No. This fleet is bigger than anything we have faced, but together? The Council has numbers and resources. Humanity has experience and weapons technology. Combined, we might have a chance." "Might?" "War is never certain, Admiral. But I know this. If we fight together, we have hope. If we fight separately, we all die." The chamber fell silent again. Chen could see the calculations happening behind every representative's eyes. Pride versus survival. Independence versus extinction. "The vote will be held in 3 days," Zethus announced. "We will decide whether to formally invite humanity to join a military alliance against the Krill. Until then, Captain Chen, you and your engineer will be our guests. And please, stop hacking our systems." "No promises," Webb said with a grin. As they left the chamber, Chen felt Webb lean close. Odin finished the scan. "You are not going to believe what he found." "What?" "The Council has been monitoring human space for the last century. Every colony, every shipyard, every military installation. They have detailed records of everything." "I know. We saw some of that." "No, you do not understand. They were not just watching. They were preparing. The Council military has been developing weapons specifically designed to fight humans, just in case." Chen stopped walking. "They were planning to attack us?" "Not attack. Contain. They were scared of what humanity was becoming. They wanted to be ready in case we became a threat." Chen looked back at the Council chamber. Behind those walls sat representatives from 100 species, all claiming to value peace and cooperation, but they had been ready to destroy humanity if necessary. "They fear us," she said quietly. "They should," Webb replied. "We survived what killed billions. We turned ourselves into weapons, and now they need those weapons to survive." Chen thought about Earth, thriving in the darkness. She thought about the 32 human colonies spreading through space. She thought about the UNSC fleet that would arrive in 1 week, carrying admirals and politicians who would decide humanity's future. "The galaxy is about to change," she said. "The old rules do not apply anymore." "Good," Webb said. "I never liked those rules anyway." 3 sectors away, the Krill fleet continued its approach. They did not know about humanity. They did not know about the Long War or the species that had been forged in fire. They were about to learn, and the lesson would be written in blood and steel across the stars. The Krill fleet arrived 3 days early. Captain Chen was in the medical bay of the Retribution, supervising the awakening of her crew. When the alarm sounded, she ran to the bridge, her boots echoing through corridors that were finally coming alive again. Behind her, hundreds of crew members were emerging from cryosleep, groggy but ready. Commander Zethus was already on the communication channel when she arrived. His voice carried a tremor she had never heard before. "Captain Chen, they are here. The Krill. They jumped into Council space ahead of schedule. They are heading for Valora's homeworld. 2 billion citizens. We need to evacuate." "There is no time for evacuation," Chen interrupted. "How long until they reach the planet?" 6 hours. Maybe less. What is the Council's defensive position? A pause. "We have 43 ships in the system. Admiral Koenig is in command. He says they will hold as long as possible to buy time for evacuation ships." Chen pulled up the tactical display. 43 council ships against a Krill vanguard fleet. She counted the enemy vessels. Over 5,000 bioships and more jumping in every minute. It was a massacre waiting to happen. Zethus, I need you to authorize the Retribution's repair. Full access to your station's resources. And I need it now. Captain, the Council has not voted yet. We have no alliance. I cannot authorize. Those are 2 billion lives, Commander. Valora's people. Your friend's people. Are you going to let them die because of politics? Another pause, longer this time. Then Zethus spoke, his voice firm. Authorization granted. What do you need? Everything. 2 hours later, the Retribution was alive in a way she had not been in decades. The Council Station's repair drones swarmed over her hull, patching holes, replacing damaged armor plates, welding structural supports. Power cores were restarted. Weapon systems came online one by one. It was not enough time for a full repair, but it would have to do. In the crew quarters, 842 humans were suiting up for war. They moved with practiced efficiency, checking weapons, securing armor, running through pre-battle rituals they had performed countless times before. These were veterans of the Long War, soldiers who had fought in the darkest days of humanity's survival. They had been asleep for 40 years, but their training was eternal. Lieutenant Webb stood in the engine room, coaxing life back into systems that should have been dead. Come on, beautiful, he muttered to the main reactor. One more fight. That is all I am asking. The reactor hummed, flickered, then roared to full power. Webb grinned. That is my girl. On the bridge, Chen watched her crew take their positions. Her tactical officer, her weapons officer, her helm. Every station filled by someone she trusted with her life. Someone she had fought beside through hell. Status report, she ordered. Main weapons at 60% capacity, called out Weapons Officer Park. MAC guns are online. Nuclear torpedo bays are loaded. Point defense grid is functional. Engines at 75%, Webb reported from engineering. FTL is still damaged. We can do sublight only, but we can move. Communications with the Council fleet established, said Communications Officer Torres. Admiral Kernick is requesting our intentions. Chen opened the channel. Admiral, this is Captain Chen. The Retribution is combat ready. We are coming to assist. The Admiral's reptilian face appeared on screen. His expression was unreadable. Captain, you have 43 crew members awake and a damaged ship. We appreciate the gesture, but you cannot help us. You should evacuate while you can. With respect, Admiral, that is not happening. My crew and I did not survive the Long War just to run from a fight. This is not your fight. The Council has no alliance with humanity. You have no obligation. The Krill are everyone's fight, Chen interrupted. We learned that 200 years ago. Today you learn it too. She cut the channel and looked at her crew. They stared back at her with fierce loyalty. These people had followed her into the heart of a Krill hive fleet once before. They would do it again. Helm, plot a course to Valora's homeworld. Maximum speed, aye, Captain. Course plotted. Weapons, I want everything ready. Nuclear torpedoes armed. MAC guns charged. If it can shoot, I want it ready to shoot. Already done. Ma'am? Chen sat in her command chair and felt the familiar weight settle on her shoulders. Command. Responsibility. The knowledge that her decisions would determine who lived and who died. All hands. This is the captain, she said over the ship-wide channel. I will not lie to you. We are heading into a fight we might not survive. The Krill have numbers. They have surprise, but we have something they do not have. We have experience. We have training. We have the will to survive that has been carved into us by 200 years of war. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Council abandoned humanity once. They let us fight alone. Today we show them what that created. We show them what humanity became in the darkness. Today we show the galaxy that humans do not run. We do not hide, we fight, and we win. The crew cheered. It was a sound Chen had not heard in 40 years, but it sent fire through her veins. Helm, engage engines. Take us to war. The Retribution launched from the Council station, her engines burning bright against the stars. Behind her, the station's occupants watched in awe and terror as the massive warship accelerated toward the coming battle. 4 hours later, the Retribution entered the Valora system. The scene was chaos. Council ships fought desperately against the Krill swarm, but they were losing. Bioships tore through elegant Council vessels, ripping them apart with organic weapons that ate through shields and armor. Explosions dotted the darkness. Escape pods drifted through debris fields. Tactical assessment, Chen ordered. Council fleet is down to 28 ships, reported the tactical officer. Krill forces number approximately 4,800. They are in attack formation Alpha 7 standard swarm pattern. They are pushing toward the planet. Show me Admiral Kernek's flagship. The display highlighted a Council dreadnought at the center of the defensive formation. It was taking heavy fire, its shields flickering. Open channel to all ships, Council and Krill frequencies. Channel open, ma'am. Chen stood. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UNSC Retribution. Krill forces, you have entered protected space. You have 10 seconds to withdraw or be destroyed. This is your only warning, silence. Then a horrible screeching sound came through the Krill frequency. It was laughter. So be it, Chen said. All weapons fire at will. Show them what humans learned in the dark. The Retribution opened fire and the galaxy saw human warfare for the first time. The MAC guns fired first. Magnetic accelerator cannons launching slugs of depleted uranium at a fraction of light speed. The rounds punched through 3 Krill bioships, then 4 more behind them. Each shot was a lance of destruction that left nothing but debris in its wake. Nuclear torpedoes followed, dozens of them, arcing toward the thickest concentrations of Krill ships. They detonated in sequence, each explosion a miniature sun that vaporized everything within a kilometer. The point defense grid activated, thousands of small railguns that created a wall of metal around the Retribution. Krill fighter organisms that tried to close were shredded before they could reach the hull. Targets eliminated, 247, reported Weapons Officer Park. Acquiring new targets. Keep firing. Do not stop until they are all dead, or we are out of ammunition. The Council fleet watched in stunned silence as the single human ship carved through the Krill swarm. Admiral Kernek's voice came through the comm, filled with disbelief. What are you? We are what you made us, Chen replied. We are survivors. The battle raged for 3 hours. The Retribution took damage, terrible damage. Krill bioweapons scored her hull. Organic missiles struck her sides. 2 of her MAC guns were destroyed. Fire broke out in 3 sections. 17 crew members died when a Krill ramming organism breached the lower decks. But the Retribution did not stop. She could not stop. That was not what humans did. Chen made a decision. Helm, plot ramming course to the Krill command ship. Ma'am? The helmsman sounded shocked. You heard me. We are going to ram them. Weapons, arm all remaining nuclear warheads. Overload the antimatter containment. On my mark, we detonate everything. Captain? Webb's voice came from engineering. If we do that, the explosion will destroy us too. I know. All hands abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. Move. We are not leaving you. Someone shouted. That is an order. Chen roared. Get off the ship. The crew hesitated, but discipline won. They had been trained to follow orders, even ones they hated. They moved toward the escape pod, some crying, some praying, all terrified. Zethus's voice came through the comm. Captain Chen, what are you doing? What humans do best, she replied. Winning. The Retribution accelerated toward the massive Krill command ship at the center of their fleet. Smaller bioships tried to intercept, but the point defense grid cut them down. The command ship grew larger in the viewport, a grotesque thing of chitin and metal. Weapons armed, Park reported. He had refused to leave the bridge. So had Torres and the helmsman. They would die with their captain. It has... Captain Sarah Chen woke up in a medical bay that was not her own. The walls were too white, too clean. The equipment around her was alien technology, humming with sounds she did not recognize. For a moment, panic gripped her. Then memory returned. The battle. The sacrifice. The explosion. She was alive. Welcome back, Captain. Chen turned her head, wincing at the pain. Commander Zethus stood beside her bed, his compound eyes reflecting a dozen different versions of her battered face. How long? She asked, her voice rough. 3 days. Your injuries were severe. Broken ribs, internal bleeding, concussion. You are lucky to be alive. My crew? 791 survivors from the Retribution. 17 dead in the battle. 34 still in critical condition. The rest are recovering. Chen closed her eye, relief washing over her. Most of them made it. Not all, but most. The battle? We won. Your sacrifice broke the Krill Vanguard fleet. They retreated. Valora's homeworld was saved. 2 billion citizens owe you their lives. And the main Krill fleet? Zethus's mandibles clicked nervously. Still coming. The Vanguard was only a scouting force. The main armada is 3 weeks away. Chen tried to sit up, but pain lanced through her body. She fell back, gasping. You need to rest, Zethus said. I need to get up. You need to rest, a new voice said. Chen turned to see a human man standing in the doorway. He wore a crisp UNSC admiral's uniform, his face weathered but strong. Behind him stood a dozen more humans, all military. Admiral Kenji Nakamura, the man said, stepping forward. Commander of the UNSC Third Fleet. It is an honor to meet you, Captain Chen. Your name is legendary in human space. Chen stared at him. Legendary? The mission to destroy the Krill Queen. The sacrifice of the Retribution. It ended the long war. Children learn about you in school. There are monuments built in your name. Nakamura smiled. Waking up to find you are a hero is probably disorienting. I was just doing my job. That is what all the best heroes say. Nakamura pulled up a chair and sat. I am here to negotiate with the Galactic Council. But first, I need to understand the situation. Tell me everything. For the next hour, Chen explained. The Council's abandonment of humanity. The quarantine. The discovery. The battle. She told him about the Council's fear. Their political divisions, their weakness. And she told him about the Krill Armada coming to destroy everything. Nakamura listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. So they left us to die, he said finally, and now they want our help to save them. Yes. What do you think we should do, Captain? Chen met his eyes. I think we should help them. Not because they deserve it, but because if we do not, billions will die. And because we are better than they are, Nakamura smiled. I was hoping you would say that. The UNSC High Command agrees. We will help the Council. But on our terms. What terms? You will see. Right now you need to rest. The negotiations start tomorrow. And I want you there if you are strong enough. I will be there. The next day, Chen limped into the Galactic Council chamber on crutches. Her body protested every movement, but she would not miss this. The chamber was packed. Every council representative was present. And filling one entire section were humans, hundreds of them. Diplomats, military officers, scientists, advisors. A delegation that announced humanity's arrival on the galactic stage with undeniable force. Admiral Nakamura stood at the central podium. Beside him was the human ambassador, Dr. Elizabeth Torres, a woman with sharp eyes and sharper political instincts. Members of the Galactic Council, Nakamura began, his voice echoing through the chamber. 200 years ago, you discovered humanity. You observed us. You judged us. And you decided we were too violent, too dangerous, too primitive to join your civilized society. The chamber was silent. Then the Krill came. You knew they were coming. You could have warned us. You could have helped us. Instead, you quarantined us and left us to die. 3 billion humans died in the first year of the war. Billions more died over the next 2 centuries. We fought alone in the darkness while you watched. Nakamura's voice grew harder, but we survived. We adapted. We evolved. We became what we needed to be to win. And now the Krill are coming for you. Now you need us. The question is, why should we help you? Valora stood, her feathers ruffled with emotion. Because it is the right thing to do. Because billions of innocent lives hang in the balance. Because despite our mistakes, we can be better together. Can we? Nakamura asked. Can the Council truly accept humanity as equals? Not as primitives to be managed, not as weapons to be aimed, but as equals. Zethus stepped forward. I cannot speak for the entire Council, but I can speak for myself. What happened to humanity was wrong. The quarantine was wrong. Abandoning you was wrong, and I am sorry. He paused. If humanity will help us survive this threat, I will dedicate my life to ensuring the Council never makes such a mistake again. Other representatives began to stand. One by one, they echoed Zethus's apology. Not all of them. Some remained seated, their expressions hostile, but enough stood that the message was clear. Change was coming. Ambassador Torres stepped forward. The United Nations Space Command has authorized me to propose an alliance. Humanity will join the fight against the Krill. We will share our military technology, our tactical knowledge, our forces. In exchange, we require the following. A holographic list appeared above the podium. 1. Humanity is granted full membership in the Galactic Council with equal voting rights. 2. All quarantine restrictions on human space are permanently lifted. 3. The Council will provide full technological exchange including FTL technology, medical advancements, and scientific knowledge. 4. Joint command structure for all military operations with human officers integrated at all levels. 5. Formal reparations for the abandonment of humanity during the Long War. The chamber erupted in argument. Some representatives called the terms reasonable. Others called them extortion. "These demands are outrageous," shouted the Grelin representative. "You would use our desperation against us." "Yes," Nakamura said simply. "We learned negotiation from you. You left us to die when it benefited you. Now we set terms that benefit us. Welcome to human diplomacy." Admiral Kernek stood. "I support these terms. I have seen what human forces can do. If they fight beside us, we have a chance. Without them, we die. The choice is simple." The vote was called. It took 3 hours of debate, political maneuvering, and threats. But in the end, the measure passed. 873 votes in favor, 412 against, 89 abstentions. Humanity was formally invited to join the Galactic Council. Ambassador Torres shook hands with Zethus, sealing the agreement. "We are allies now. Let us hope we can trust each other." "Trust is earned," Zethus replied. "Let us earn it together." 6 months later, the combined fleet assembled in neutral space. Captain Sarah Chen, now promoted to Admiral Sarah Chen, stood on the bridge of the UNSC Defiance, humanity's newest and most powerful dreadnought. It was twice the size of the Retribution, carrying weapons that made her old ship look like a toy. Around the Defiance, 200 human warships hung in formation. Dreadnoughts, carriers, destroyers, cruisers, the entire Third Fleet ready for war. And integrated among them were 500 council vessels. Different designs, different species, but united under one banner. Commander Zethus stood beside Chen as her liaison officer. It was a strange partnership, but it worked. He understood council politics. She understood war. Together they made an effective command team. "Long-range sensors have detected the Krill Armada," reported the tactical officer. "They are 2 hours out. Fleet composition: 3 million bioships, 50 hive carriers, 1 Empress-class command vessel." Chen studied the tactical display. It was the largest enemy force she had ever seen. Larger than anything in human history. Larger than the fleet that had invaded Earth. This was the Krill's full military might gathered to crush the Council once and for all. "All ships, battle stations," she ordered. "Execute formation Delta 7. Human ships form the spearhead. Council forces provide fire support and screening. 700 warships moved into position with practiced precision. Months of training, of learning to work together, paid off now. The fleet moved as one organism, human aggression balanced by Council strategy. "Admiral," Zethus said quietly, "what are our chances?" Chen thought about the Long War, about Earth burning, about friends who had died, about humanity forged in fire. "We are alive," she said. "That means we still have a chance. And sometimes, a chance is all you need." The Krill Armada emerged from hyperspace like a plague. They filled the viewscreen, a seething mass of organic ships and hatred. They had conquered 1,000 worlds. They had destroyed countless civilizations. They were the terror of the galaxy. They did not know humanity. Admiral Chen opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. I know many of you are afraid. You should be. We are outnumbered. We are facing an enemy that has never been defeated. But I want you to remember something. The Council was afraid of humanity once. They feared what we would become. Today we show them they were right to be afraid. Today we show the Krill why humans do not lose." She paused, letting her words sink in. "For 200 years humanity stood alone against the darkness. We bled, we suffered, we died, but we never broke. Today we do not stand alone. Today we stand with the Council. With the Klarn, the Valoran, the Grelin, Alti,